Hi guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing an interesting type of video. I'm actually going to be sharing with you guys how I messed up in organic chemistry and how you cannot make the same mistakes I did. So I actually watched one of these videos before I started organic chemistry just because I was also really nervous when starting this so-called weed out course. And I wanted to make this video too just because I want to share what I did wrong and how you guys can fix that. So what I've done is I've actually written down 2 pages in this little notebook of tips that you guys can use for when you guys start organic chemistry. And these are very real tips. Like, I tried to think of tips that you're not going to find in other videos, because then what's the point of watching this video? And I'm going to be linking a bunch of useful information down below. So if I were you, I would save the link on this video, email it to yourself, whatever, because some of this stuff is going to be relevant later on in the semester, and you don't want to lose the links that I have in the description below. So let's just get started. So the first thing that I think would be a tip is something that I actually did, and it really helped me, and that is to go into this class with background information. So organic chemistry is really difficult, not only because it's chemistry. Chemistry is difficult, I mean, come on. I've never been good at chemistry, but it's also this course that's overhyped. A lot of people create this thing like, oh my gosh, organic chemistry, it's a nightmare, it's the worst thing you're ever going to go through, and for the most part they are right, but it's not impossible. It's not like if you don't study, you're not going to, if you do study, you're not going to get it. It just requires more studying and a different type of studying than you are used to probably in your college journey so far. So I would really suggest going into this class with background information. So what I mean by that is to learn some beginning topics before you go into class, and this will make you less nervous for this so-called extremely difficult class. And it'll make you less nervous to start out with, and I think that'll do a lot when you're studying and everything. So I think that some of the best topics to learn are skeletal structures and condensed structures. Another great topic to learn or review is Lewis structures, because you've done that in Gen Chem already, but it is so relevant in organic chemistry, and it really helps to review that before you start the class. And another thing is charge and how to get the charge when you have a skeletal structure, Lewis structure, or whatever you have. So I'm linking videos for not just those 3 topics, but all the intro topics you should probably know before you start the course. And I personally paid $100 to do this prep course, but I feel like YouTube videos would have done the same thing for free. So I'm going to save you guys some money and link some of those videos down below so that you don't go out and spend $100 on the prep course that you don't need. So yeah, that's that. Another thing I think you should do is have a notebook to do your practice problems. Now this seems self-explanatory, but I've seen many people in my class who have just decided to not use a notebook at all, and they've gone for the more traditional paper method, loose leaf paper method. Now, I mean, if you don't like notebooks, that's cool and all, but I seriously think that using a notebook would be super helpful because you can always go back to your examples. So this is one of my notebooks, and yes, you heard that correctly, one of them. I had one other notebook before this. I completely filled it, and then after that, I started using this one probably 3 weeks ago. My class ended yesterday, and I am pretty much most of the way through it. So this is how much I have left. So that just goes to show how important it is in this class to do practice problems. So my next tip is that if or when you buy a model kit, use it when you study. So a lot of people in my class had a model kit because our professor suggested using a model kit. I can't tell you if a model kit's going to help you personally, because it's different for everyone. Some people like moving the molecules and seeing what it actually does because they can't see it on paper. And I'm one of those people. I need to like move the molecule and see if it's symmetrical on both sides. That's actually a concept called meso compounds. I can't just rotate a bond on paper and see if it works out. But some people are able to, like my friend. She didn't need a model kit at all. But if you're going to use it on your exams, use it when you're studying. Become familiar with it. I actually don't know if your professors will let you use it on the exams, but a lot of organic professors do. So make sure you ask, of course, before you bring it in. My next tip is don't just look at the mechanisms, do them. And I don't just mean do them, get some of it incorrect, and then say, okay, I got it. that mechanisms are the most important part of organic chemistry, especially in the later chapters after the second unit. They pretty much make up maybe 75 to 85% of your exam, and it is so important to know where the arrows are going, where the electrons are going, and the best way to do it is not to look at it, but to try it. So my tip for you is to, when you have a problem, do it on a whiteboard or another sheet of paper in your notebook, and then see if you got it right. If you get stuck, note down where you get stuck, look at the answer, and then start all over again and do it again until you get it right completely without having to look back. This means that you're actively learning and actively retaining things in your memory. If you don't do this, you're just gonna look at it and say, oh, I've got it, but you don't really have it. So I really suggest doing that. My next tip is kind of relating to the second unit of organic chemistry, and that is that when you're trying to memorize reagents and whole equations for organic chemistry, make sure you are actively remembering. So this kind of ties into the last tip. Basically, in the second part of organic chemistry, you're going to have one reaction, you're going to have a reagent, and you're going to have a type of product. The product will be different depending on what reagent you use, but you should be able to figure out any part of it. You should be able to figure out the product if you're given the reactant and reagent. You should be able to figure out the reagent if you're given the starting material and the product. Or you should be able to find the starting material if you're given the reagent and the product. So in order to do this, you really have to make sure you're actively learning. When you see a reagent, ask yourself, okay, what happens with this? It's H2O and H2SO4. What do they both give to the product? Or if they both give an H and an OH, what must our starting material not have? So don't just look at everything and get super confused, because that is so overwhelming. It's probably the most overwhelming part for me, was just looking at all of these reagents and trying to understand what type of product they give. And if you haven't taken organic chemistry yet, which is what I assume since you're watching this video, then you're probably just like, what do you mean? I personally made mind maps, which I'll insert a picture of right about now, and I found that they were super helpful. But I didn't make mind maps in the sense that I was looking at my notes and copying everything down. I actually had a very interesting technique that helped me in the second part of the semester that I wish I had done in the first part, and I think I would have done a lot better. So what you do is you go over your notes, don't rewrite them. I made that mistake, it did not help. You're just passively rewriting things, you're not learning anything. Look over your notes and then do practice problems from your textbook or whatever your teacher gives. And find those gaps, find what you don't understand from your notes. And then ask questions, look on Google, find videos. Like I said, I'm gonna be linking a bunch of them below, but do all of that. And then at the very end, after you've done all these practice problems, which by the way should be like 50 or 60, I know it sounds like a lot, you're gonna be sitting at your desk for a long time. But after you've done that, then go ahead and make this enormous mind map, but don't look at your notes. Write down everything. It can be a rough draft, of course. I chose not to make rough drafts, but if you wanna make it pretty, go ahead and make that rough draft. And then everything you don't know is where the gaps are in your learning. That's where you keep forgetting. Anything you have a hard time with, that's what you keep forgetting. That, I think, is the key to doing well in organic chemistry, because a lot of times you look everything over, and when you're looking at it in your notes, it's like, well, duh, of course this reagent does this. But when you're doing it by yourself, without your notes, it gets confusing. So that's the best way to identify your knowledge gaps, and that's the most important part of organic chemistry. Now, my last two tips are kind of like, of course, duh, but they're really important for chemistry. So the first tip is to stay organized for finals. Finals, if your college is anything like mine, is super important, makes up a major part of your exam. So what I did, I have my this folder of stuff. This isn't even all of it, but this has all of our lecture PowerPoints, all of my notes, all of the quizzes and exams we've taken. It's pretty thick, and I've marked it separately by the unit it was, and I put the objectives for the unit and everything. And I think that helped me a lot when staying organized, because I wasn't like, oh my gosh, where's chapter 7? Oh my gosh, where's chapter 2? I had it all paper clipped in order and I was ready to go. So if you stay organized like that in your semester, you'll find it a lot easier at the end to do well on your final, or at least be prepared to take your final. My next tip is probably, if I had to change anything, this would be the one thing I would change, and that is to make sure you are paying attention in class. A lot of times I zoned out in class just because I had no idea what our professor was saying. Like, we would go over a recap and I'd be like, okay, I get this. Or we'd start a concept and I'd be like, yeah, this is easy. And then he'd say something mildly difficult, like just a little complicated, and I'd just zone out like that. So I think the more you pay attention in class, the easier it's going to be on yourself later. The more you, I don't personally like to ask questions in class, but the more you put sticky notes on your notes and go to office hours and ask, the easier it's going to be on you to understand the material. So I really think next semester when I'm taking Organic 2, and if I could somehow go back in a time capsule, which I don't think I'd want to do at this point. I mean, I've already gone through Organic 1. If I could do that though, I would definitely pay attention in class and try to focus the first time around so that I don't have to do it by myself at my desk at home. I am so confident that if you use all of these tips I gave you, if you watch the videos and you try your hardest, you will get through this class. Just know that it takes a lot of determination and you have to be willing to put in that work, which I know every single YouTube video that says that, and I did, and I was pleasantly surprised with how I did in the class and how much satisfaction I got from understanding things. So yeah, chemistry is still not my favorite, and organic is even at the lower bottom end of the list. But I could definitely appreciate that my hard work was paying off and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, I hope you like this video. If you like this kind of video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below if you have questions or anything of this sort. I'm going to be making another video like this for anatomy and physiology, so stay tuned for that. And I have lots more videos planned for this winter break, so I hope you guys are ready. Have a great week, and I will see you guys next time with another video. Bye!